Wednesday 3.
Yeah, we had Wednesday 1. He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix, both in this country, of course. Praying for the safety and got people on the defense talking about it. You better get your ass involved. You better get involved. I just gotta say, when it comes to mortality,
Different.
For sure, they would have thrown it off because this guy gets off too.
And I go to bed every night. G-Man, I promise you that we got a special. Man, what is up, Cowboys Nation? Of course, your boy Mike Tag here on a Sunday rainy morning in Tampa, Florida, but I'm just chilling, and it's probably perfect, atmosphere for a rainy day. Is the icing's been put on the cake for the season, but we'll get into some stuff, man. We're gonna get this thing rolling. Of course, got my partner in crime, Greg, here, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe, hit the like, hit the share it on social media, share with Cowboys Nation, spread the word. We got a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna be getting some interviews. We'll be doing some Sunday morning stuff for the veterans of the crew, because some people don't get up early. So we got some veteran guys that'll be coming in to join us. And then Tuesday, we're not going to do the show Monday. We're going to do a show Tuesday because obviously the college football championship is Monday. I got to watch that. And Wednesday, we've got Terrence Parsons, Micah Parsons' brother, is going to be coming into the cave. We're going to be talking a little Cowboys offseason, Cowboys football. So we got a lot of great stuff going on. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe, like, share. Greg, how are you doing, my friend, man? How's the weekend going? How's life treat you as this offseason?
Good, man. Can't complain. Started? The weekend's been great. Cold weather starts tomorrow for us, real cold and chilly. And believe it or not, the northern part of Florida, on the Panhandle, we are getting 1 to 3 inches of snow Tuesday. So they'll be shutting everything down.
Wow. Whew. Whew. Well, we're going to be cold here. I was telling Greg before, I'm supposed to fly to South Carolina on Wednesday for work, but I don't know. I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see how those flights go, because I don't like being stuck anywhere. And let's see. We're going to be loud. Redskins, and we're going to talk about that. Eagles ends up in the championship, should be a huge slap in the face. We're going to get into some of that. I'll be honest with you guys. My son is absolutely distraught. He's like, Dad, I can't believe Washington is in the NFC Championship game, and I've never seen the Cowboys in it. I guess, I don't know. My mind is a little bit different. I could care less about I could care less about getting somewhere. Like, I'm more mad that we haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years. I could give a shit. If we were in the championship game 5 years ago and got our ass whooped, would you really care? Like, I wouldn't care. I need Super Bowls. I'm keeping the eyes on the prize, and the pressure on Jerry is like, it's unacceptable that we haven't been to a Super Bowl. I don't care that we haven't been to a championship game or played in a Super Bowl. I want to win a damn Super Bowl. So I don't know your thoughts on it, Greg, but I know the media has gone crazy, and hats off to Washington. Washington, this is why Greg and you talked, and this is why you want to go to the playoffs, because Washington is clearly probably the 6th best team in the NFC in that playoff bracket, and they're going to the championship game because the Lions would beat them 99 out of 100, but it only takes one, right, Greg? Only takes one.
That's it. It only takes one. And, I have to side with Mikey. I feel the same way, man. Not totally distraught, but it's a gut check. It's like when you're on a roller coaster and you're coming down, that feeling you got, that's what I had, man, because this is a rookie quarterback. And we had that same head coach as a defensive coordinator last year. And he took Biotis, Durance Armstrong. He took Terrence
like 10
Fowler,
Cowboys are there. 10
Dante
Cowboys.
Fowler. He took several Cowboys with him and a rookie quarterback. And then I heard an interview that Magic Johnson gave after the game at one of the stadiums when they beat the Bucks. And the interviewer asked him, so how do you turn this organization around the way you did? And he said, we went out and hired the right coach. We got the right players. And the most important thing he said was, and then we got out of the way to let them do their job. And that blew my mind. And the first thing I thought was they need to put that on instant relay every day on ESPN, Sports Center, NFL Network, and let Jerry hear it. Last night's game against the Lions, the way that Washington played, is an absolute, positively, categorically embarrassment for Jerry Jones. If he saw that game, which I'm sure he did, everything about it should tell him I am doing the wrong thing 100%. And what kills me, Mike, is I know that he gets all the warning signs. He saw that this year. If anything, this year was pasted on his face, and his narcissism is going to make him turn around and say, I don't care, I'm still doing it my way. Yeah. And that's a shame.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, to me, that's the bigger issue, right? And we've all talked about it. It's the culture that they create. And I mean the whole Jones family. Because you look at Washington, and hey, like I said, I gave them a hard time. I still don't think they're that good of a football team. But the one thing they do is they don't quit, and they play for the coach. But they've got a culture there, yes. And the culture is just about football. Where the Cowboys is really everything. Football is kind of secondary, and that's driven by Jones. That's why it was reported by Jane Slater, who, she does a phenomenal job. And if she says that, I'm going to believe it, that they went into Mike McCarthy and said, hey, we want you back, but, we'd like to get Jason Witten on the staff. We'd like him to be kind of the heir apparent. Now, if I'm a coach, I'm like, hey, dude, that ain't going to fly with me. Didn't fly with Mike McCarthy. He said, you know what? Let's just end this stuff, and I'm just, we'll part ways and just part ways. This is the problem. The Cowboys want to control everything.
Yes.
And the coach needs to control his coaching staff. The coach needs to control his, that's his team. You got to get out of the way. And that's the problem. And you're going to see it with a Kellen Moore. You're going to see it, with these other guys that, Rivera, whoever they want to bring in and, be the next coach. Jason Witten, whatever it is, they want to control it. And this was the thing, I'm thinking about, I was like, well, who would really buck that? Because I don't know if he's deserving of being a head coach in the NFL yet. I don't think he's done enough, but I was against it. But now I'm like, you know what? Deion Sanders, he's no yes man. And he ain't the media everything would turn to him and turn off. That's why I don't think it would happen, because I don't think Jerry could handle that, because he couldn't handle with Parcells and he couldn't handle with Jimmy Johnson. But Deion is like the one guy that wouldn't allow that. Am I wrong? I don't know. And you guys in the chat, if you think, am I wrong or what?
Here's the thing, though, Mike. Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, they are dug in cement. You're not going to crack that cement just by bringing Deion in. Everything we know about Deion, and the fact that we know that Deion is not a yes man, how many times have you seen people all of a sudden convert when they get up under a certain organization that they know they can't control? I can see them butting heads the first season, even in training camp. I can see them butting heads, and Jerry will pull a Jimmy Johnson. He will get ignorant. He will be that this is my ball, this is my toy, this is my team. You either gonna do it my way or you out. And I can see Deion getting on ESPN saying, I'm out.
Yeah.
Breaking news. Deion Sanders, after coaching for 1 month during training camp, he's out of there. And I can see him saying, I got respect for Jerry, but there's no way in the world. I can't build a culture there like that. I can't have somebody micromanaging me. I can see it. So everybody thinks Deion gets in there. Deion's not this. No, Deion isn't. But Deion hasn't been under Jerry Jones, as Jerry Jones being the owner and his boss. And that man is not changing anytime soon. He is dug in cement. I'm talking about age-old cement. and it's no way anybody's going to crack that cement until the day he leaves. Because one thing about Jerry I noticed, He's basically telling everybody, I don't give a damn that I'm wrong. I don't give a damn that the whole world has seen that I'm wrong. I'm still going to do it my way. And I bet he looks in the mirror saying, I need to change. But nope, I'm not doing it because everybody out there going to know this is me. This is my team. And I do what I want. And it's a shame when you're that selfish. When you're that selfish and you ruin the organization. And that's why most of our great players, and believe me, folks, those players that went with Dan Quinn, they weren't busters. They were good damn players. And that's why they followed Quinn. And he's gonna lose some players this year. Mike, we got 22 free agents. Jerry's gonna wind up letting the best of them get away. A lot of them gonna leave anyway because they don't want to be there. For the next 5 years, I predict, unfortunately, that we are going to be competing with the New York Giants for last place in our division.
I mean, I'm not that grim yet. They still got a bunch of core guys, but it is frustrating because you saw Micah Parsons. If you follow him on Twitter, Micah Parsons and Des Bryant, they got pretty, more heated on Des' side than Micah Parsons, but they got in a heated debate about things and about, Des was accusing maybe Parsons of being a yes man. Des says, I don't talk to Jerry Jones like you talk to Jerry Jones in that way, where Des wasn't a yes man. I don't know. I mean, sometimes money can change things. If someone's going to pay me $30 million, $40 million, maybe I'll be a yes man. I don't know. I mean, what the hell? I have no idea. It's easy for the outsiders, the former athletes to really, hammer some of these guys. But, the game has changed. The mindset of people have changed, and the money has changed. So it's easy for us to kind of, throw shade on things. We're not in that situation. But what I would say with this Cowboys team, I understand the free agents left and they follow Quinn. That's not uncommon. When a coach leaves, he wants to create people who know his defense. So I mean, that's why you saw Fowler go from Atlanta to go to Dallas. He goes to Washington. It's almost like Parcells back in the day, or Jimmy Johnson when he went to Miami. There was a lot of former Cowboys that kind of went there to do the transition. My issue is they don't replace them with nobody. Like, I got no problem with the people who walked out the door. It's like, who are you bringing in? And that's where the free agency part. I was thinking back, and I was on Facebook. TikTok's gone, so you go on Facebook, and Leroy Glover, picture of him, and I'm thinking, was he the last free agent, what I would call home run, that the Cowboys hit, like that, where they paid some money? Am I missing someone from that point forward? I don't know, but it's been a long time, neither here nor there. It's been a long time since the Cowboys hit some home runs with some, big free agents. That's not their philosophy. And you see these other teams doing it. You see Washington active in free agency. You saw Philly active in free agency. And you see the Rams active in free agency. And I'm like, well, shit, man, aren't these like the three teams right now that are the final three? One of them will get separated. And then you could go to the other side and you look at what some of these other teams did in free agency, and it's just, man, Leonard Davis, he was solid. He was solid for the Cowboys. Leroy Glover was just, he was all pro kind of level, but I would take Leonard Davis as well. But it's been a long time. But what's your thoughts on the whole philosophy with Jerry? And like, it just gets so tiresome, and just, I'm over it. It's like, you got, in business, if you're not successful, we had a bad year. If we had a bad year in my company, well, shit, man, you look in the mirror, it's like, I've been doing it this way. Maybe I need to change it up a little bit. Maybe I need to tweak some things here and there. But they're just, like you said, the heels are dug in, and they're not changing the way they're doing things.
The ego is a very, very hard thing to change and compromise with, especially as a person gets older and older. Because Jerry Jones, like I said, imagine Jerry standing outside of the Cowboys Stadium like a sentry blocking it. And from everybody, he's going to be on a tower taller than the stadium with his feet cemented all the way up to his thighs. And he's going to be pointing at himself. And that means everybody has a chisel and a little rubber hammer, and you got to start at the bottom of that base. And for the next 30 years, you got to chip at it to try to pull him out of it. Ain't gonna happen. Sometimes when people's egos are so inflated that they become a pure 100% dictionary definition of the narcissist, there is absolutely nothing in the world of common sense that's going to change them. You can talk about Jerry Jones all you want from all these past years, but nobody can tell me that this year of all the years, especially in the last 30 years, that this hasn't been the most critical year in his life to where everything points at him, and it is loudly broadcast, and nobody disagrees about it. You haven't heard one person on television, one person in Cowboys Nation say it's not Jerry's fault. You said free agency. Absolutely right. We always talk about this. Free agency, we got zero. It's not like we went in there and got some bums. We got zero. All the teams on both sides of the conference, they went into free agency like it's just like us going into Walmart every day to get some groceries. That's how common it's supposed to be. Jerry doesn't even know a grocery store is out there. So he doesn't even go and ask about free agent. Who? Saquon Barkley? Who? Derrick Henry? Yep, didn't know they existed. But since they're gone and I realized I messed up, let me make up some excuses as to why I didn't get them. We're not going to win in this culture without changing the culture, without free agency as a routine, without getting a coach and letting the coach get his staff as a routine, as hiring a general manager, nice staff, getting out of their way as a routine. That is the model of the NFL today without any precedence. It is just what it is. We are the only one, 32 teams, the only team that does not do that, and the only team that has one maniacal owner who wears every damn hat. And it is a shame that we have to put up with it every day, every year, and do this and say maybe it'll be different in spite of Jerry Jones, but it won't.
Yeah, no. I mean, and that's the hardest thing. And I see comments where you shouldn't buy stuff, but let me explain. And this has got thousands of dollars. Up in there is Tom Landry. I got that. I got it. I didn't buy it. 99% of what's in my cave, I got it. I did myself. So ease up on that stuff. So that whole thing, there's revenue sharing in the NFL. They don't give two shits. You know what I mean? They're all getting paid. They all get paid because it's all about TV contracts. We could boycott the stadium and we could no one show up and this and that. And I guarantee you, when we play the Packers this year, that place would be filled with Packer fans. Jerry don't care. The money's still green no matter where it comes from. So I get what people say, but that ain't going to change anything because these guys are still making money. The Cowboys are still the most valuable franchise there is. So all that like kind of keep saying that shit, it don't matter. Now, what I would say is message can be sent. And if they were to hire Kellen Moore, I'm going to be very hard pressed to renew my season tickets. Very hard pressed. It's going to be the only reason I would renew my season tickets selfishly is because they play the Chiefs, which I'd love to see Patrick Mahomes. Right. They play the Packers, which I could make a lot of money off of. They play the Vikings, which travel very well. So financially this year, as opposed to last year, wasn't a very good schedule if you want to make some money. This year's schedule is pretty damn good. They got some nice games. So selfishly, I'll go back to Jerry and I'll say, I'll make a little money off you this time. So, but all kidding aside, Kellen Moore is the one hire that I am so against. Not that I hate Kellen Moore, but it cements even more another Jerry yes man, another puppet, another they're going to pick his stat, another just the continuation is gonna stay the same. That's why I applaud McCarthy. I applaud McCarthy for not giving in to the whole Jerry thing and the whole Cowboy. We're going to put the pressure on you. You're going to have this guy in your staff and you're going to do this. Leave. He said, you know what? I'm not under contract. We'll part ways. And he's fine with it. I'd love to talk to him one day with a beer and just hear his real stories about it because I'm sure it's very interesting. I don't think he'll do it. But I hope he goes to Chicago, or I hope he goes to New Orleans. I hope he has a lot of success. I hope he does. I really do. I hope he sticks it right back at him, because this is the arrogance that the Joneses, and I'll say the Joneses because I know Stephen Jones is heavy in it as well. The arrogance that they have, that they're just going to be the master, puppet master, and drag these coaches. And if you hire, like I see Aaron Glenn. If you hire Aaron Glenn, you don't damn well they're going to say, well, you should have this guy as your coordinator. You should have this guy as your this. You could do. And if they do the same thing, Ben Johnson, and I don't know how their stock is after that game. That was very poor. They want to give they want to give the Cowboys heat. The Detroit Lions, that was piss poor. Game planning, 5 turnovers, getting too cute when you're clearly Gibbs is like shredding them. Yes. And then you get cute with all these trick plays. It reminded me a lot of the Falcons when Quinn was the head coach and you had Shanahan wanting to get that job and you're up 28-3. All you got to do, man, is just run the ball and be good and just drown this thing out. And he wanted to be cute, throw up a bunch of points to make it look like, this great guru, and it backfired. And I think it did it to the Lions as well. And is our guy who I like, is he going to feel some of the heat? Dan Campbell, this is the second time where they've kind of underachieved. Last year they had the Niners where they wanted him and he kind of scaled back and the Niners came back and took him. This game, they just got away from what they should have been doing to win and got cute and ended up backfired on.
They panicked. And when they panicked, they started all these gadgets. And in that game, I saw bad coaching. Didn't call a timeout with 12 people on the field. Bad coaching. I saw you win by the blitz, you die by the blitz. They saw where Washington knew they were going to blitz, so they kept throwing outside with 3 on the corner. They were killing them. And then they played zone too much. And Washington just kept throwing the ball up under them all the time. And then all of a sudden they panicked. And when they panicked, they got out of their game plan. And Dan Campbell, like I said last year, Dan Campbell makes it to the playoffs this year, and he starts pulling all of those risky plays like he did last year. Dan Campbell's going to be known for the biggest risk taker that never made it. And that's what he did in this game. And for the first time, I saw fear on his face every time they showed him on the sideline. He looked like he wanted to throw up. He was scared to death because he realized they blew it. Now back to Jerry. Jerry, the reason why Jerry will never change, whether it's Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, Kellen Moore, Witten, and that's why he wants to bring them in, even Deion. He assumes that Deion comes in, if Witten comes in, if Kellen Moore comes in, they are going to be yes men because he figured they're the closest people to that he knows that he can make them be yes men. And people got to understand, regardless of what Deion is like, when they come in, Jerry's going to sit back and say, hey, I've been running this monopoly for almost 60 years. You can't change me, Deion, and don't think you can. And out of his ego, he won't allow that. Now, Jerry is trying to prove to everybody, I don't care if it takes me 60 years. I'm going to prove to them I can do it by myself. He wants to try to win that one Super Bowl so he can tell the world, I told you I can do it my way. Well, Jerry, we ain't got 100 years on this planet. Most of us will be gone in probably 30 or 40 years. So you ain't definitely going to be around that long. But no matter what, he wants to prove that he can do it by himself by getting to a Super Bowl because that's his biggest concern. No matter what people say, he's going to stick to that until he dies. Detroit, last night, after that first drive for the Commanders, I said, Detroit is in trouble. I was texting my cousin, texting my best friend. I said, Detroit is in trouble. Their defense is absolute trash. I said, and then as the game went by, I said, Aaron Glenn's stock on the head coaching position has dropped like an eagle that just got shot out the sky because his defense was so bad last night that we could have ran and passed through that. And Ben Johnson, his job is still secure because even though he was calling the offensive plays, the team itself didn't execute a lot of them. Goff was kind of off his key. He got off. He wasn't hitting the receivers like he wanted. He was throwing interceptions. If Ben Johnson comes to Dallas, I don't think Ben Johnson will take the job because Ben Johnson knows if I can't do it my way with the staff I want, I'm not going to do it. So
Yeah.
I don't see Ben Johnson coming. And you saw what Mike Tomlin said when they asked him, said, what about what do you have to say to all these teams out here that are you got a no trade clause that are want to call you, that are wanting to call you for his job? He says, tell them, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time.
Hey, does Tomlin get too much of a pass? I mean, he hasn't won a playoff game in 8 years. I mean, so many people are critical of others. It's like, and they say, well, he hasn't had a quarterback. Well, they drafted Pickett in the first round. I mean, should you develop him? Was that a bad? I don't know. I don't know how much control he has over his personnel or this and that, but so I don't know that. What I would say on the Lions, Aaron Glenn, and it's been stated, and we all know they've been decimated with injuries on defense, right? Decimated. So when I say game plan, you're going against Washington. You kind of know what they do. They're a decent team. They're not a powerhouse by any stretch. I'll go to my grave saying it, but they're scrappy. Mm-hmm. And it takes the offensive coordinator to make sure he's not putting his defense in compromising positions because they're so depleted. The turnovers, not running the ball when Washington's run defense not very good, and you're killing them with the run, and you just you start doing these trick things and throwing and stuff, not being what I would say maybe more conservative on the Lions offense, hindered a lot of the Lions defense. I mean, you get 5 turnovers, you put them in tough positions, they're depleted, they're on the field a lot, all these things that go with it. That's where I'm saying the game plan, they weren't meshing together. Aaron Glenn, I won't destroy him for that game. Now, some of the stuff that they were doing, it's like, well, what the hell are you thinking, there? But I'm not going to destroy him for the game plan because I don't think the offense did them any favors. But then that's up to the head coach too. Yeah. The head coach be like, look, guys, this is the game plan. We are better, man for man, we're better than this team. Let's not get cute. Let's not get crazy. Let's stay conservative. We got the home crowd. We got everything on our side. Our defense is a little depleted. Let's just handle that business and go out with the win. Instead, it was almost like statements wanted to be made, right? I'm this smart. That's why I keep going back to that Shanahan in the Super Bowl. It's like, what did Jimmy Johnson always say? He said, don't be cute, be good. He used to tell Michael Irvin all the time. We don't need the one-arm catch. We need to catch the damn ball, get the first down, let's go to the next one. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but that's just was my observation watching that game.
Yeah, I don't think, and Mike, to be honest with you, I don't think anything Ben Johnson would have done last night would have stopped that onslaught, because it reminded me so much of the Packers game. It reminded me so much of the Packers coming into Dallas. There was nothing we could do. They ran on us. They passed on us. No matter what we tried to adjust to, we weren't prepared. And I'm telling you, I really feel that the Detroit Lions took Washington for granted. I think Dan Campbell took Washington for granted. They blitzed 90% of the game, and they showed the blitz. It didn't even disguise it. And Washington knew it. And every time they blitzed, nobody was back there with the linebackers. Nobody was on the corner. And they did it consistently. It was almost like, you mean to tell me you're going to keep doing this, even though I see you doing it? Of course I'm going to take advantage of it. Nothing would have stopped that onslaught and that bloodshed last night that Ben Johnson could have done. Even if the Lions had taken that first drive and scored a touchdown, Washington came right back and they go down to score a field goal. But then Goff gave up a fumble. He gave up 2 interceptions. Then they had that stupid trick play. But the defense couldn't keep up with them no matter what. It was like the dam was broke and somebody was up there with a stick. And it was aggravating because I almost felt like it was a Dallas Cowboys playing, because it reminded me of the Green Bay Packers game. Nothing we could do could stop the bleeding. We were trying to catch up, and every time we say, okay, we're close, boom, 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 they come right back down. Washington is on their way to become a powerhouse in the NFC East. And I'm telling you, because of Jerry Jones, and I say that alone, not because of the talent that we got, not because of what we can do, because of Jerry Jones alone, we are looking like we're going back to the 80s for the next few years. And that's going to be sad. That's sad Last year, because of how we ended, we felt, okay, next year we're going to be better. And then we turn around to be straight trash. And like I said, it was all Jerry's fault. He could have stopped the bleeding during training camp, could have stopped the bleeding when the season started, could have stopped the bleeding in free agency. Imagine this, Mike. Imagine this. And I'm not just making up a scenario that shoulda, woulda, coulda. It was right in his hands in free agency to get us a running back. It was right in his hands during the offseason to get those players that we need. It was right in his hands to get plug-and-play players during the season. If he'd have done the basic things that other organizations did, training camp, free agency during the season, the basic things. We're in the playoffs. We missed the playoffs by 2 games, and 2 games that we almost won in the last minute with the team that was depleted and Jerry's mishaps. Just imagine if he had done the basic things that most organizations do. We're in the playoffs. But sadly, if we did make the playoffs, he would have been able to say, see, I did it my way. I did it my way. And we won and done. Yeah. I am not encouraged about next year. If anything, I'm sick at the stomach about what's going to happen next year because of Jerry.
I got to see some. Like I said, the coach is the biggest thing for me. I got to see. And I would say, my man Cowboys, the only I give Jerry a lot of crap. I want to make sure I clear up any false statements either. I was a season ticket holder during COVID. I got a credit on the games, so I don't understand wanted us to renew the tickets during COVID. They gave you a credit on next season, so I don't think what you're saying is accurate. So I'll just say that. And I was a season ticket holder too, so I'm going to tell you my experience of it. It wasn't. It was an NFL thing. I got a credit for that whole season into next season on my statement. So anyway, we'll go on for that. But I do agree. And hey, Steven thinks we'll be fine. So he's being sarcastic. He's being sarcastic. So let's change it up just a little bit. When you're looking at, let's say, Deion, or Ben Johnson, I mean, the thing that you'd see typically with when you bring in new aggressive, let's say, coaches, an offensive mind, even if it was like a Gruden, whatever it is, typically they align themselves with a quarterback, right? And sometimes they want to get their quarterback, and you've got Dak Prescott. Are you to the point where if a guy comes in and says, you know what, we just got to blow this thing up. We got, I know we're going to take a big cap hit, and the Cowboy, it worked out for the Broncos, right? I mean, are you to the point where no job is safe? Whatever you got to do, if we got to eat it, whatever it is, go in and you got to make a radical change. I mean, are you okay with that?
Yeah, but the first radical change has got to be at the top, Mike, because you're speaking as though we're in a normal tiered organization that would come in and make that radical change.
Well, I'm saying he's got to bring in the coach that's going to do it. He's going to be allowed to do it. Otherwise, he's going to go get Kellen Moore. I'm saying, okay, but if you get Deion Sanders, you know it, Greg. You've been around. Deion Sanders he is not going to sit back and say, all right, Jerry, you hire my guy. I mean, he went to Colorado and he said he brought his own luggage. He got his Louis. He told the guy, I understand it, but Deion is the ultimate, probably one of the greatest competitors, one of the greatest athletes of our generation. He is not going to sit back and just let Jerry walk all over. I'm just telling you, he'll walk out the door before it happens. So he's not going to take the job unless he's got some authority. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but Mike, here's the problem. And we can say that all day, but we don't know until he hires him, and we don't know if all of a sudden Prime has turned a new leaf. Like you said, money. And what if he says you can bring Shador with you?
Well, then you'd get rid of Dak, though. No.
He didn't say bring in Shador and let Shador start. Jerry's gonna say, look, I got money in Dak. I'll be damned if that cap is gonna hit me. We're gonna keep Dak. You're gonna have Shador back there as the backup. But Prime,
that ain't gonna fly, dude.
But
because Shador's gonna be a top 5 pick.
I don't put nothing past Jerry Jones.
Never fly.
I don't put nothing past Deion. Is not the yes man. And Colorado was dead in the water. The college probably should have shut down football. They would take anything. And Deion, that's college. So it ain't like that college was gonna say, no, you're gonna do it our way. This is Jerry Concrete Jones. The best coach next to Tom Landry that we ever had was Jimmy Johnson. And look how that happened. And those three people think it happened in the last year as far as Jimmy Johnson saying this is it. No, it had been festering from day one. Jimmy Johnson just finally got fed up and said, you stay out the way and let me do my job and you do yours. There's nobody on this planet, unless Jerry gets dementia, there's nobody on this planet, Deion or otherwise, that's going to come in there and be the great savior of the Cowboys because he, without having his own team to bring in and letting them doing it his way. Jerry has nothing to lose. He has nothing to lose for the next 3 years if he lets somebody come in and do it their way so he can sit back and if he want to get in the media every day and say, I'm gonna do it like everybody else. And I'm gonna show you guys that I can do it better. And we'll hope that he allows that so we can see it work. But Jerry has nothing to lose if he does that. Because right now we're trash. Right now we don't see what we're going to be better. So what does he have to lose? You would think Jerry would say, you know what, let me try it your way and even brag about it and be narcissistic. I'm going to try it your way, but I'm going to show you that your way ain't going to work. That's what he'll do. And let him do it. But he won't. He won't because he doesn't want to be shown that all this time he was wrong. He can't stand that. He can't stand the fact that he would finally be shown that he was wrong by the way he was doing it. And he would down the cross before he allows that to happen. And he'll go in his grave knowing no matter what happened, I did it my way. And
be singing the Frank Sinatra song.
That's the pathetic truth. And unfortunately, we have to deal with it. Imagine all these people in Cowboys Nation that are so disgusted that they even wish Jerry would trip down the stairs and all of a sudden have a stroke and he can't. Jerry would be in there like this. I don't care what. He will find a way to get Stephen Jones to do exactly what he wants him to do. We're the only team in 32 teams that does not have a centralized organization. We have a tier, and that's it. You cannot be successful if you try to wear all the hats. It won't happen. It can't happen. It never will. And he wants to take credit for what Jimmy Johnson did. Jimmy Johnson did it. He wants to take credit for what Barry Switzer did. But that's Aikman and the triplets and the team's credit. They take credit. They pushed themselves through those 2 seasons to the NFC Championship and lost the 49ers. Then the next year, NFC Championship and won the Super Bowl. Not Barry Switzer.
Well, what I would give Barry Switzer credit for, and we had him on the show and talked about it, and a lot of people don't want to give him the credit. What I would give him the credit for is what he walked into. Not many coaches would have been able to walk into that and still stay successful for what they did. Right. Now, what he did was, you're talking about probably one of the greatest college coaches of all time, right? I mean, Barry Switzer, a legend, ego. You could say whatever, all the things in it. He put all of that aside. And when he came in, you know, because we had Campo on as well. And with Campo, he confirmed it. And Barry Switzer came in and he got all his coaches together and he said, I'm not changing anything. I don't want you guys to change anything. All I ask is your loyalty. That's all. You guys, I'm walking into this situation. He put his ego aside. He could have easily come in and said, guys, my show, we're doing it my way. We're going to get this bang, 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 and all that stuff. But to his credit, he put his ego aside as well and said, you know what? This is a good thing. You guys are great coaches. You guys got a good thing going. Just be loyal to me, and we're going to have no problems. And Campo said that, you know, Jimmy was a different coach than Barry. Dave Campo coached with Jimmy way back in Miami. He followed him over. And he said Jimmy Johnson probably couldn't name his kid, like didn't know his kid's name. And they've been together for 10, 15 years, whatever. Barry Switzer, within 2 weeks, knew his whole family. It was just a different vibe. So I don't want to give Barry like all the, he's been a whipping boy for a lot of fans. And I tell you what, he was a very critical for keeping that success in spite of what Jerry did. Like Jerry effed that up. But I think if you would have brought in another coach, I don't know if you would have won that third Super Bowl.
But, I give Barry credit for not changing everything and coming in and trying to do it his way. I give him credit for that. And that small window for those 2 or 3 years, especially 2 years, when the NFC Championship and then the Super Bowl the next year, that small window, Jerry kind of set off to the side. That was the only time, other than when he hired Jimmy Johnson and he got those first 2, he set off to the side. And he let Barry Switzer, Campo, and the rest of the team, he let them do what they do. But after that, it was a wrap.
Well, that was the start of it. The Barry was the start of the Jerry, because look at the drafts. I mean, you start looking at some of the drafts they had and some of this, and Jerry started putting wanted to be more involved in all of those aspects where Jimmy was kind of the draft guy, right? He had Campo, he had Butch Davis, he had Wannstedt, he had North Turner. He had all these guys that, there.
North Turner.
And they all started going away. I mean, you saw, right? Wannstedt went to, I think it was Chicago, and North Turner went to Washington. And now you bring, and things just slowly started crumbling at the footsteps. But that was that was the beginning of the end. But like I said, and people could disagree or they can agree, whatever it is, Barry Switzer doing what he did helped the Cowboys get that third title, because I think any other coach, if you would have brought in a Mike Ditka, one of these other guys, it just would have been total. And Michael Irvin said it. Yeah. I mean, even Aikman has said it. Emmett has said it. I mean, your big guys have even said it. And it killed Aikman, right? Because then after that was the beginning of the end, right? He became like Aikman was the bad guy, because Barry wasn't going to be the bad guy, right? Barry was going to just sit back, and he just didn't want to F it up, for lack of a better word. So I give him credit for that. Yeah. But then Aikman became the disciplinarian, and then it weighed on him and wore him down. It just kind of ruined everything. But that was the start of the Jerry demise, and it's continued, and nothing has changed. And sadly, to what you say, is I can't counter argue that he's going to change, because typically I've dealt with guys like this in business for years, and typically they don't change. And they think it's their way is the best way, and through hell or high water, that's the way it's going to be. And I've seen companies just going through a demise. These companies that you saw were so successful. Like, what the hell happened to these big companies that when I was a kid, they were huge, and now they're nothing. And unfortunately, that's what has been going on with the Cowboys.
Yeah, and the thing is, not Jerry, but Barry said, look, you guys are driving a pristine, clean Lamborghini, brand new off the showroom floor.
Yeah.
I'm the new driver, but guess what? I'm going to sit in the back seat and let y'all drive this bad boy. I'm not changing nothing. I'm not changing the fuel grade. I'm not changing the tires. Hey, do what y'all been doing. And like you said, stay loyal. Do what y'all been doing. But Jimmy brought his staff. Look what Jimmy had. Man, we had coaches. It's almost like the Saban tree of coaches, what Jimmy had. He had the Turners, the Bush Johnsons, the Sean Paytons. I mean, he had coaches that went on in the NFL, and Jimmy brought those in. Now, after Barry Switzer, Jerry didn't allow nobody to bring in the staff they wanted. They might bring in one staff, but Jerry did all the picking, and you can't go and buy those groceries and make them successful when he don't know what the hell he's doing. And that's why I say, if it's been 30 years or so that he has been the same way, he's not going to have a significantly life-altering event over this offseason that's going to change his mind and make him try it differently. And that's what all Cowboys fans worldwide are more afraid of. They're not afraid that the team that's going to show up next year is not going to be players and everybody's going to be gone. They're more afraid of the decisions and non-decisions that Jerry's going to conduct. And that's what scares me about our future. It's not about our, I can't sit here and tell you we need to get rid of so-and-so and so-and-so. And Dak, no, Dak is a product of the bad management that Jerry put above him on the sideline. That's it. If Dak has the coaching staff that the coach comes in and brings with him, they will definitely get Dak back to greatness easily. Don't ever count Dak out. Jared Goff has been in the league how many years, and everybody wrote him off. Look what he's doing. Even the short time Donald over there at
Sam Donald,
Vikings,
yeah, with the Vikings.
all this time, and they wrote him off. It just goes to prove you bring in the right coach, you bring in the right coaching staff, they can get out of that player who used to be great. They can get out of that player what he was great for, and they can continue to do it. So I wouldn't write Dak off and say trade Dak and blow up the team, because if you blow up the team, we're going to get the same thing from Jerry. So it's not like we're going to get a better decision making. You blow up the team, we're trash. Guess who benefits from blowing up the team? Jerry Jones, because he doesn't have to pay anybody. I looked at the roster last week, Mike, and I saw what everybody's getting paid. We got almost half of our roster barely making league minimum.
But that's every team. It's like that. You're always top heavy.
Mike, I understand that.
Yeah.
But you would think that Jerry would say, I got this many people on the staff, on the team that's making almost league minimum. I'm able to move some money. Now, I know I need a running back. I know I need to go in free agency. You can't do that, have that, and not go out and get anybody. It's just, we can dissect this Dallas Cowboys situation all we want, but it leads back to one thing: the fundamentals of managing throughout the season just didn't happen. And I don't mean the Rubik's Cube of it. The fundamentals didn't happen. Every time I see Saquon and Henry run that ball,
forget that. J.K. Dobbins. I mean, you could have got him for Pete. I mean, there's a million running backs. I think
as bad, as depleted as our team was, people don't realize we were only 2 games from the playoffs, and we almost won those 2 games. Cincinnati, and there was one more before that in Washington, but beat Cincinnati, and then if we had won that last game in Washington, we might have squeaked. In all of our inept people that were hurt, we still had a team that fought, but we had an owner that says 5 steps forward, I'm pulling y'all 6 steps back. And it just kills me to see his face on TV yapping all the time, saying bullshit, when knowing that and they asked him, Jerry, have you considered doing this? No, he didn't say, he said, no, I would always be that one. So tell me now, I am one of the most diehard Dallas Cowboy fans. If you rate us in the top 100, I don't know. There's people out there we don't know. Mike will be in there. But I'm telling you, I go so far back with the Dallas Cowboys. I remember before the star had the white and the outline blue. And I am an optimist. But Mike, I'm telling you, I don't see any optimism in our future because of that one man. It's amazing how one man can control all this destruction. I just don't see it, and it kills me. Now, it's not going to change my dedication to the Cowboys, because my dedication is to the Cowboys.
Yeah, but I'm a fan of the players. Where
I am.
That's my priority. That's what I love.
I didn't get the only jerseys I bought this year. I bought Flournoy's jersey, and it was before he changed his number. I'm not buying, and I want to get Overshown's jersey. I don't know what Jerry's going to do with him. I'm not buying the jersey. I want Turpin's jersey. I don't want Brandon, the kicker's jersey. The only 3 jerseys I really want is Turpin, the kicker, and Overshown. But I'm afraid to buy either one of them because of that maniac. I don't know what the hell he's going to do. He might trade all 3 of them and go out there and get Fairbairn for our kicker, and then go out there and get Stump Mitchell to come back and be our punt returner. And then instead of getting Overshown, he may go out there and get Fat Lucy and tell them to come on and take his spot.
I made a decision like this year. I'm going old school jersey. Like I'm bringing, I'm bringing sexy back, like they said, right? So I got Big Nasty Gogan last year. I'll probably get Teague, or I'll get, maybe Tony Hill. I'm going old school because those legends they never die. They're not going anywhere. And so that's my thing with the jerseys. I got my Emmett. I got my Deion. I got my Aikman. I got to get Irvin.
I got all
For some reason, I've never had a Michael Irvin. As crazy as that sounds,
I got the white, the blue, and then the royal blue and the white and all that on my. You know what? You just brought up a good idea. Next year, all season long, that's all I'm doing. Every pregame is going to be an old school jersey. That's exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah, because those are the good old days.
Yes, those
are good. It's like those were
good old days.
But,
and then
but the thing, I see a lot in the chat. And I definitely appreciate the fire in the chat. It's good trying to catch up with you guys. Have been going off, and I'm trying to get my eyes right so I can see it. But the center is Dak Prescott, right? And there's still a lot of Dak Prescott. Should he be the quarterback? Should he not? This and that. My opinion of it is, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if they need to kind of just shake things up. Now, what I do think they need to do is draft a quarterback. Now, you're not going to get one in the first round of any value. One of the Cam Ward's gone, Shador's gone. That's probably where the only two guys that I think would be worthy in that top area. But there's some guys in that middle round that would be like, if he's there, I would take a shot. Because I think they need to get something. They need that options. They need options. You can't. They're so handcuffed by Dak and the contract, and whether they should have signed him. That's neither here nor there. I mean, that's the price that you pay for quarterbacks. I mean, I haven't heard anyone bitching about Herbert and Trevor Lawrence and all these other guys. I mean, Jalen Hurts is making a lot of money. All these other quarterbacks are all in the $55 million range. I mean, that's just what the quarterback market is. I mean, I didn't set it. I mean, Purdy's going to get there. All these guys are going to get there. But, I mean, how long do you continue down that path? Now, one thing, the coach is going to be critical. So I'm going to throw another coach out there, and I want to get you guys in the mindset, yay or nay, and Greg, you too. John Gruden. Now, I look at John Gruden, and I go back to he resurrected Brad Johnson. He got him, pretty good and helped lead the Bucs to the Super Bowl with a great defense. Make no mistake about it. But then he went over to Oakland, and you had Rich Gannon, who was kind of like that, solid quarterback. But he had him playing he won MVPs and went to the Super Bowl and really was a Tuck BS call away from changing the trajectory of maybe the Patriots. So John Gruden is still close to football. He's doing his thing with Barstool Sports. But if you ever watch him on YouTube, man, he's still got it. I mean, he's still got the passion. Would an older guy like that get you okay, or are you kind of like, man, I don't want that stuff either?
No, I would love when you mentioned his name, which wasn't in my mind. When you mentioned his name, light bulbs turned on, LEDs went off in my head. I'm telling you, I would love to have John Gruden on our coaching. But here's the problem. John Gruden damn sure is not going to take Jerry Jones bullshit. Damn, you think Deion won't? Gruden damn sure won't tolerate it. And he'll come in and say, Jerry, if I'm going to coach this team, it's going to be Chucky. And Chucky's going to bring in Chuckettes. And if you don't like it, don't hire me today. Gruden would be, I might buy a Gruden jersey. If Gruden gets to get the job and he's allowed to bring in his staff. Not only that, I might for once in my life say thank you, Jerry. I might for once in my life thank you, Jerry. Will it happen? Hell no. Jerry Jones ain't going to bring in Chucky. Chucky will let him know Chucky will let him know on the phone call. I'm not coming to do an interview with you if this is how it's going to be. Well, Chucky, I got a way of doing. Chucky ain't going to even listen to it. But yes, that name never came up. And I know the controversy about him being out the league. They get over it, bring him back. Somebody is going to get desperate enough to bring Gruden back, and the rest of the league is going to regret it that they didn't go that way. But yes, that right now, that is the only coach I would say absolutely positively, and never thought about it. Absolutely positively, 100%, I give my full support behind. Kellen Moore, Witten, all these other people, they're going to be yes, man. That's why Jerry get him. You know, Jerry looked in the mirror and said, who can I get out there that'll kiss my ass? Yeah. All these right here. So I'm straight. And then I'll tell them what they're going to do. And then they just do it my way. That's what Jerry's looking for. Because look at the names that he's of the people that.
Well, here's one more. Let me give you one more old guy who's out. Pete Carroll.
No. I think the game is past Pete Carroll. When Pete Carroll made that bad decision he did in the Super Bowl, instead of giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch and passing it, that did it for me. That did it for me for Pete Carroll, because you're going to make that critical decision on 1 yard line when you can win the game, and you got the beast back there, and you got more than one play. It is fundamental. Run it hard, and then you're going to throw it. Hell no with Pete Carroll. No, chew your bubble gum on the sideline somewhere else, Pete. Go back to college. Do not come to Dallas.
Now, I like Pete Carroll. I love his energy. I love his,
him when he was with Seattle. I would love him when he was at Seattle until that decision. When that decision happened and Marshawn just walked on the sideline, didn't say nothing. I almost looked at him. And no. But yes, I'll take Chucky any day.
So what coaches that you're hearing out there, are you reaching any level that I would, where it's like Kellen Moore is a real, that's going to be a tough one for me to accept. Are there any other coaches, or what coaches are out there that if they hire, I mean, you're, like you said, you're one of the, you're one of those Mount Rushmore of fans of the team. Is there any coach that they can get that's really going to put that in jeopardy?
It's only 3. Now that it was 2 before, but a third one now that you brought up Gruden. I had never given that consideration, but yes, that would be my number 1 coaching hire. Number 2, which ain't gonna happen, would be the coach from Green Bay. That would be my number 2. And number 3 would be the 49ers coach, which I know they're not going to get rid of. One of those 3, neither one of those 3 are going to be yes men and come in. They come up under the Shanahan tree. And let me tell you something. Shanahan would call them both and say, don't you dare go over there to Dallas. And if you do, let me call Jerry first myself and talk to him. Look, my son is not coming over there if you don't allow him to bring in his own staff. He's got a proven record, a winning record, blah, blah, blah. And let me tell you about the other one, not Kyle Shanahan, but what's the Green Bay's coach?
LaFleur?
LaFleur. Mike LaFleur and Shanahan came up under my wing for years, and they became coaches, and they still tight friends, and they have been winning on this formula. I'll be damned if I'm going to let you take either one of them. And I look at LaFleur like my son too. I'll be damned if I'm going to let you take one of them and ruin their coaching career because you want to be selfish. And I've already told them, if they interview with you and you tell them that same old squeaky wheel mess, I told them to drop it and leave. And if one of those 3, Gruden, Shanahan, or LaFleur, were given opportunity to come to Dallas, I would 100% Mount Rushmore. Hell yes.
All right. Now the flip side, who is going to make you like, I'm done? Is there any coach that would make you close to being done?
I'm never going to say I'm done with the
But
Cowboys.
I mean, just
Right.
Yeah.
But I understand your premise.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore, Deion Sanders, Witten, Saleh. It was one more I was thinking. Kellen Moore, Deion Sanders, Witten, Saleh. His name came up. Oh, I forgot. But
Glenn,
all of them to me, I don't see them cracking the eggshell of Jerry. No, and especially the 3 that's so, because if Kellen Moore was so much of what Kellen Moore is supposed to be, Jerry, why you want to bring him back instead of keep him? See, you should have kept him if you thought that. So you're doing with Kellen Moore like you did with Zeke. And then you brought Zeke back, nothing happened. Kellen Moore coming back as the head coach is going to be trash because Kellen Moore he's vulnerable. Listen, he's vulnerable, Mike. He's a young
I don't like
kid.
Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is going to make me not renew my season tickets.
he's
The one that
wrong.
surprises me and some of these people that you'd be so out on is Deion.
Yes.
And listen, I was against Deion in the beginning, but I think Deion could bring a radical culture change to this team. I just think he would. Maybe am I crazy in the chat? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
I don't think he will because Jerry won't allow it. That's the problem. It's not like if Deion came and brought his staff, I wouldn't be on board with it. I would be on board. Now, I wouldn't be over elated because I want to see the results. But I don't see Jerry allowing it. Now, I know that if Gruden and those other two got an interview, they would make it abundantly clear that this is what they want. And if Jerry hires them, be honest with you, I don't see either of those three even signing a contract without knowing that they can bring their staff. Deion will sign the contract knowing he can't bring his staff and then try to change Jerry's mind to allow him, and you're fighting an uphill battle. You can't do that. He took his baggage to Colorado and told everybody, that's Colorado, that's college. That team had 53 or 90-something players that didn't even know what football was. It's not going to happen in the NFL. Deion will not be allowed to come in that team and tell Jerry, if you're going to hire me, and I know if Deion is serious about it, because I know he's seriously thinking about it, and the media and all this playing on it, he'll call Jerry and say, Jerry, I'll consider coming under one condition. You are going to have to let me bring my baggage. I got my luggage I'm bringing. Now, you agree to that, Jerry, we can agree to terms. But Deion is not going to take the job if he can't bring his luggage because he knows it's his first time in NFL. With what he's accomplished up to now, he don't want to get in there and look like is the jackass of the NFL. He don't want to ruin his reputation and then have to tell the media, well, it's not my fault. Jerry didn't give it. And they'll say, well, you knew Jerry wasn't going to give you what you wanted. So you still took the job. So you are trash. Your whole legacy is gone to poop. And I know that's what that Deion is thinking about. If I take this job and I do it Jerry's way, I can ruin my entire legacy right in the first year. If I'm going to go down, I want to go down doing it my way with the staff I bring in. And Jerry, you let me do that and I'll come to Dallas. But if you can't let me do that, you're setting me up for failure. You're not going to put a stain on Prime Time's legacy. No way in hell. And if Prime doesn't let the money and all of the media and all that get to him, the only way I think he would take that job is if Jerry allows him to do what he needs to do. So, okay. So
well, I'd say with let me just
as the number 4.
Well, let me just finish this because we got Deion draws a lot of attention. And my man Steve, he's a fellow you guys, so we got to show Steve some love too. This is the part that I think Jerry has a circle, the circle of trust.
Mm-hmm.
And as crazy as Jerry is and all this other stuff, I really think there's certain people that he really, really trusts. And there's 2 of them that I know outside like his family. I think one's Michael Irvin, and I think the other's Deion Sanders. And I think sometimes when you have someone you trust, and I really believe he does, I think he could be swayed to do things a little different. And that's all I'm going to say. Now, I don't know if that's going to even happen or whatever, but Jerry, I mean, you could go back to the very beginning with Deion. When I was in Dallas for the game when they signed Deion, and it was crazy, right? He came in there and he had the pinstripe suit, and it was they were playing the Broncos that week, and they signed him. And in the commercials, I mean, Deion, Jerry does have an infatuation and a respect of Deion, and I don't know. I think you have to. I think the only way to shake things up, you got to really go outside the box of the norm. And I just, like you said, the Kellen Moores, that's the norm. The Ron Rivera's is a norm. Those kind of coaches the Mike Zimmer is going to be the norm. I think if Deion or someone outside the box were to come in, that at least gives me a little hope that maybe there's something going on here.
Well,
maybe Jerry's starting to understand it. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. But before we stop, hey, We love all the interaction. We got over 500 people hanging with us on a rainy Sunday morning for me anyway. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up if you're in the chat watching out. Go over to YouTube, hit that thumbs up, hit that like button, and if you're not a subscriber, what the hell are you doing? Hit that subscribe because we got so much stuff going on. But back to you, Greg. I'll let you counter my.
If he had these people in his circle and he trusts them so much, and all these years they've been in his ear, Mike. They've been in his ear every year. All the time, they've been in Jerry's office. They've been on the phone with him. They've been in his ear, and it hasn't made a difference. So all these people you talk about that he trusts, real close, tight circle, they've talked to Jerry. They've pleaded with Jerry, and it hasn't changed. And you're right. If you mentioned something, hope. That's all we have.
That's all you can have.
Is hope that Jerry may get it in the offseason. Hope that if he does bring Deion in, that we don't see Deion with Jerry's staff. And if he does have Jerry's staff, that somehow Deion's able to mold these people enough to have a winning record. So we have hope offseason, hope if, let's say, you bring in Deion, and hope if Deion doesn't get the staff he wants and it's Jerry's staff, we have hope. That's all we have right now, because the trust factor of all those people that are close to him, his confidants, they haven't been on the sideline all these years, but they don't publicize their conversations with Jerry. They've been pleading with Jerry, and Jerry has a close circle or not. It's only Jerry. And thinking outside the box, he ain't coming out that box. That box is sealed, ready to be picked up by DHL. He is not coming out that box. And these people have been talking to him for years, pleading with him to change. Aikman said something the other day was prophetic. He said, I don't think people saying, oh, but you know, the Dallas team is a high visibility. I don't think Dallas, the coaching position is a coveted position like the rest of you are thinking. And he spelled out why, which we all know why. Because back in the day, Dallas, to be a head coach of Dallas, that was a privilege and an honor of, you can hear the trumpets and the violins play. Now, you don't hear nothing but crickets. A whole lot of coaches out there that are interviewing, they're interviewing Mike because there's a process. You must interview certain coaches. You must interview this many coaches. So when you hear the name, Dallas is interviewing Saleh, Dallas is going to interview Johnson and Glenn. Jerry has no plans on even hiring. I doubt if Jerry's even doing the interview. Might have Steven doing the interview. Jerry's got his mind made up. Jerry wants Deion, and he's going to try every way he can to get him, except turn over the keys. He knows. I've been able to break down every coach that said they want to come in here and do it their way. Eventually, I've been able to get them no matter what and not give them the keys. And I can do the same thing with Deion because I'm Jerry Jones, damn it. That's the way it is. And unfortunately, if Deion comes, I would hate to see Primetime's legacy disgusted, because the media, it would be waiting to blame Deion for everything, because they'll say, Deion, you of all people, and they've already been saying it, that Deion is the kind of man would not be yes man to Jerry Jones. You could say that all you want until you get up under the thumb of that owner, and all that theory goes out the window. This man didn't become the narcissist he is overnight. This is embedded. This is deep entrenched. And the older he gets, the more rigid he stays. And there's no way Deion's going to go in there and change it overnight unless Steven gets on board, and even if he pleads with Jerry. So if Deion,
I think Steven's more against it than Jerry would be.
If Deion gets the job, all I can do is hope that whatever Deion attempts to do, tries to do, pulls this, well, he ain't got no hair to pull out, to try to get this team to the winning ways they need to. I think mentally it's going to drain Deion, it's going to twist him, it's going to break him, and he's going to fight the toughest battle in the sports arena after his playing days are over that he's ever faced. And that can be the downfall, according to the media, of the primetime legacy. And I'd hate to see him go out like that, knowing that he's going into a sabotage situation, thinking that I'm the one that can change his mind. and get in there and find out Jerry's like, I got you now. Deion, I love you to death, but nope. But let's do some commercials because I can make some money. And, you know, look, ticket sales going to go up high, Deion. And I could put a whole big banner. Deion comes to Dallas. But you ain't having it your way. But we going to make some money. So forget about the Cowboys. I want that money you going to bring. You're going to bring money. You're going to bring visibility. But Deion's the one that's going to catch hell. Jerry don't care about all the hell he's been catching. Deion will be the one that catches it and ruins it. So, no, I wish I'd like one of those three to come there. And I bet you whoever he hires is somebody none of us are even thinking about. And that's going to be absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think the one intriguing thing, I don't know how you feel about Zimmer being the defensive coordinator. Yeah. He's very close to Deion. He was an advisor, when he went to JSU, and then I think he kind of advised him a little bit in Colorado in the early part of it. So he could be the defensive coordinator. I said if Deion were to come in, you'd have to have a strong staff on the defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator, because Deion he's not that, right? He's more he's the culture changer. Right. He's the one to get them motivated, accountability, all those other things that we say, the discipline, the things that Dallas is lacking. That's what he can bring. But if it's going to work, you'd have to have a strong offensive coordinator. You'd have to have a strong defensive coordinator. And that's the only way it would really, 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 really work. But Deion, I'm telling you, Deion's a smart dude, man. I mean, he is a smart man. And if he's coming to Dallas, if he came to Dallas, I would feel, again, I wasn't for it now. Yeah. I was dead set against it in the beginning. But as I'm learning, thinking more about it and seeing things, like, I mean, he could be what the doctor ordered. That would show me something. Now, you could say it's all smoke and mirrors, but it would show me something. And Jerry could be, like you said, he ain't getting any younger. You got to be getting desperate sooner or later.
I think he would. And you know what? You brought up Zimmer. Deion is smart for knowing how to circle himself with talent.
Yeah.
Deion know he doesn't have all of that to put it. Deion is smart. You don't have to be a genius as a leader. The genius of a leader is know how to surround yourself with the talent to execute what needs to be done. That's a genius. And then nurturing that talent and allowing them to do what they have to do and keeping an eye on it, but not micromanaging. Deion knows how to bring that talent. And Deion would definitely keep Zimmer. I think he would definitely, because that's one sure person that's already on the staff that he knows he trusts. And the defense did adjust over the season and got a little better. So I wouldn't be opposed to keeping Zimmer as a defensive coordinator if Deion came in. At least Deion could say, well, at least I got one person on the staff that I know I would love to have on there, and somebody I relate to very closely is Zimmer, defense. Now he would have to fight with Jerry for an offensive coordinator and somebody that he knows he can bring in and not allow Jerry to go pick an offensive coordinator. And I still wouldn't get Kellen Moore. I would want
the one name I saw, Kubiak. He comes from a pretty good tree. So
yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to Kubiak. There's a whole bunch of coordinators out there I wouldn't be opposed to.
I would get a young, I'd get one of those young guys and just try and freshen it up a little bit, for lack of a better word. But hey, we're going to talk a lot. I mean, geez, this coaching thing's going to go for a lot. But what I want to do is, we got about 20 minutes left. I wanted to take the last 20 minutes, talk a little bit about maybe the football from this weekend. Get your thoughts. We got the championship, because we're going to have our show on Monday. So maybe talk a little bit of what you think on the college side. But again, 530 now plus in the cave. We definitely appreciate it. A lot of you guys on Twitter, obviously following us. Make your way over to YouTube at some point. Hit that thumbs up. Hit the subscribe. If you're watching, there's a little face of me in the bottom corner that you can just hit that and it'll subscribe you right away. So there's a lot of options you could do to make life easier. Tag tries to do it for you. So definitely check it out. So looking at these games yesterday, just real quick, because we talked about Washington a lot. We don't need to get in that one. But the other one was the Chiefs and Texans. The Chiefs, they won, but they did what they've done all year. I've said it. They're like the ugliest 15, now 16 win team I ever seen, but they just keep winning. And I think it's like you said, it's a culture of it. Having Mahomes ain't so bad either, but they just find ways to win. But man, they've made bettors, the gambling crew, absolutely die because they went for that safety and it flipped to them covering to them not covering the spread. So there's some happy people and unhappy people. But what was your thoughts of Kansas City? Is that kind of what you just expect them to do, or should they be concerned about that next week facing Buffalo or the Ravens? And we'll get into that game after that. And what's your thoughts on the Chiefs game?
I think Kansas City should be expecting the game against Buffalo or the Ravens to be a nightmare for them, because both of those teams are cold weather outdoor teams as well. And they are hungry. It's their time. For the last 4 years or so, both of those teams have been in a running. And either Buffalo played for the NFC Championship or the Ravens. One of those teams is ready this year. I said early in the season, I don't see Kansas City going to the Super Bowl this year. Now, that doesn't mean I'm Nostradamus, but I don't see it. I can see the teeny bit, even not a lot, but I can see the teeny crack in the armor where they're starting their years of dominance is not going to be as dominant as before, and we're going to have to fight even harder for it. So the Texans game, I didn't expect them to lose. If they did lose, I was like, ooh, wow. But the way they won it, Texas gave them a fight. The way they won it proved to me that whoever they play next week in Kansas City, they're going to need the luck of the chiefdom somehow to win that game, because one of these two teams have already been there with them. This year, they will not be denied. They will not be denied, and they're going to go into Kansas City, and they're going to do whatever they need to win that game. And Kelsey, I think in the offseason, Kelsey may retire because Kelsey is giving everything he's got, but Kelsey is struggling. Mahomes is their lifesaver. But these two teams that are going to become one of these teams that's going to be coming in, they are going to be lights out. So Kansas City, this is the year that you do not create history and be 3 in a row in the Super Bowl wins. You do not. It's not going to happen. And if you do, man, and if they do manage to get in there, Mike, they will not win it. They will not win it.
I think they're winning. I think the AFC will win the Super Bowl this year. But
no, I'm talking about Kansas City, not the AFC. If Kansas City,
I thought you said if they get into the Super Bowl.
If
sorry.
Kansas City gets in the Super Bowl,
they
not
win
going to win it.
I think the AFC is winning the AFC will win the Super Bowl over the
Buffalo
NFC.
or the Ravens.
No, they're all AFC. I'm talking about if Kansas City represents AFC.
I can't.
Nobody. I don't think who's left in the NFC can beat them. That's
right. Washington could.
Oh no, not Washington could get destroyed.
That's what they said.
All right, Detroit. They'll get destroyed. Patrick Mahomes ain't Jared Goff, and Andy Reid would not allow what happened there. They and Spags is their defense is a hell of a lot better than Detroit's. I mean, Jaden Daniels is all they got. I mean, like I said, their defense is not very good. I mean, they're not. So, but let's look at today's games, and then we'll see. So let's start with the Eagles and the Rams. My opinion of it early, the Rams were my sleeper team in the NFC. Now, I had to do some research. I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, the Rams played the Eagles, but it was early. And the Rams started 1-4, but the Rams' run defense not very good. Eagles, Barkley ran for 255, I think, against them. So now I'm like, ugh, when I saw the spread, I'm like, why did? Because I didn't think the spread would be that high. So now I'm kind of like flip-flopping back from the Eagles to the Rams, Eagles to the Rams. But I got to stick with my sleeper team. So I think maybe the Rams will win, which would make for a really odd NFC Championship game, the Rams and Washington. Who would have predicted that? What's your thoughts on this first game?
Well, remember, Mike, early in the season, not early, but about in the 5th week, what did I say? I said nobody wants to play the Rams if they're healthy and they make the playoffs. Remember, I said that. I said the Rams are dangerous. And I said Green Bay would be dangerous. And the Rams. I said, but the Rams, if they're healthy and they got Puka, they got Cooper Kupp, and their team is healthy, I said they are going to be the most dangerous team in the playoffs in the NFC. Look where they are now. They're one game from playing the NFC Championship. The only reason, and I'm picking the Rams, the only reason I can see the Rams losing this game is because of the weather. That is it. Because of the weather, these guys aren't used to it. And the reason why I say that is because I remember years ago when Dallas went to Chicago on the regular season, and one of the players on Chicago walked out and saw the Cowboys guys standing at the tunnel looking outside and talk about how cold it was and this and that. He said, I knew right then we had them. That cold weather, they couldn't take it. And he went back and told everybody in the locker room, oh, and they destroyed us that night. The Rams are not cold weather teams. I don't know one game they played this year in cold weather. And they love that carpet, that indoor air conditioning and all of that. And that cold plays on you. Philadelphia plays that way all the time. So a lot of things can happen. And snow coming on the ground too can cause a problem. That's the only way I see the Rams losing is because of that. And Philadelphia is at home. They know the field. They got the fans and everything else. But the Rams, I said about the 5th game in the season, I said if the Rams are healthy, they are going to be the most dangerous team in the playoffs. And they are. So if they play Washington in the NFC Championship, I don't know who wins that game. I don't know, because the way Washington playing and Daniels has no fear. Daniels is playing like he's playing in the backyard. It's like, I don't care what you do. I'm here to play football. And his running style and his jukeness and precise passes and the schemes they run, their culture and their team unity is so close and so desperate. It's like they can taste the Super Bowl. So don't any Philadelphia fans, don't think this is going to be a walk in the park today. You better hope that the weather helps you.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I'm not as, I think it's going to be a good, like I said, either team, it wouldn't surprise me. I think the Rams, they've got the weapons, but my concern is, I'm a big fan of running the football, and the Rams run the ball pretty well, but Barkley is, it pains me because I'm not a huge fan of the Eagles, but I think Barkley's just such a good dude. And for him to have this season almost to just just shove it back in the Giants' face for that idiotic GM to make those comments on that Hard Knocks and the coach and all that. But I wouldn't be upset if the Rams win, put it that way. The other game, which I think this is the game, like the game of the weekend. You're talking Ravens, Bills. And I am shocked that the Bills are a home underdog against the Ravens. Now, the Ravens put it on them pretty good. But this is the game of the weekend, and I just cannot wait to see this one. I don't know who to pick in this game. You guys in the chat, what are you guys thinking? Greg, what's your thoughts on this game?
I like both teams because I want either one of them in the Super Bowl. I do, either one. Now, I'm partial Buffalo because my younger brother, Mike, my brother under me is Pittsburgh. My younger brother, he's a Buffalo Bills fan. He goes back to the O.J. Simpson days. And every year, I root for Buffalo to win on their side. I root against Pittsburgh because of the Super Bowls. And I want Buffalo to go. I really want them to finally get to a Super Bowl and finally get a trophy. That way Jim can be in the family. All three of us can have teams in the Super Bowl. But if they don't go and the Ravens go, either one of them, I want them to beat Kansas City. But this is going to be a game because the Ravens have been up to Buffalo before in the playoffs. And Lamar Jackson remembers that snafu when they played up there last time. And I can see how Buffalo is the underdog because the Ravens aren't coming. Even if they don't have Zay Flowers, the Ravens aren't coming up there like this is an experiment. The Ravens are hungry. They are extremely hungry. And one thing about Buffalo, sometimes they get comfortable at home. You see how the Broncos jumped up on them right away and got that touchdown, right? Mm-hmm. They can't allow that. They can't allow that with the Ravens because the Ravens defense is not going to sit back and allow Buffalo to come back and score all them points on them like the Broncos did. So it might be whoever has the ball last might be the factor. But turnovers most definitely are going to be critical in this game. If you any turnovers that are in the opponents and in the team that has the ball in their own side of the field, those turnovers are going to be critical and can make the difference in the game. That clock is going to go by so fast that when every time they look up, they're going to have to feel like this is their last drive. So this is going to be I'm glad they got it late at night. This is going to be an outstanding game. Buffalo fans and Ravens fans right now are nervous as hell because they got an opportunity right now to get to the AFC Championship again against the same team that's wounded, the same team that's in a teeny bit of decline. But that's all they need is a teeny bit decline. The game with the Ravens last year, no matter what Kansas City won, it was close. The game with Buffalo in the AFC Championship, it was close. All they need was that teeny bit of decline in Kansas City to get over the edge. And one of those teams tonight that wins is going to be that team that makes it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good. I'm excited. I can't even predict that game. Part of me, I think I want the Ravens to win. Buffalo, I don't know, because I always get to laugh at Buffalo because they like, for some reason, they like to give us a lot of shit. And I always just go back to 52-17 and, and then that usually shuts them up. So I don't know if I want to give that up. I don't know if I want to give that, they win a Super Bowl, then they kind of, because I'm telling you, whoever comes out of the AFC to me is going to be the Super Bowl champion. But hey, that's why they play the game. Nothing's guaranteed. Yeah. So lastly, our last few minutes before we got to bail. Appreciate all the chat's been on fire. We're up over 550 people. It's been great. We definitely love the Sunday morning. Glad to see some people. Not everyone sleeps in. Some people like to get up and talk some football and get ready. So we definitely appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe, like, share. We got our live show on Tuesday because we got a big game on Monday. So the last 4 minutes, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Greg's from, he's a U. I'm a U. I know Steve's the U. This is probably worst case scenario for a Miami Hurricane fan of Ohio State, Notre Dame, because we probably don't want anyone to win, but someone's got to win. I think Ohio State rolls. I love the Notre Dame coach. I would love to see him win, but I think Ohio State rolls. Greg, what's your thoughts? And you guys in the chat, if you're following college, what do you guys think?
Well, I've always had disdain about that referee that threw that flag after he went home, took a shower, and came back and threw a flag, and then gave Ohio State the ball back, and then they beat us when we should have 6 rings. But again, my brother, who's the Buffalo Bills fan, he is a big OH, and everybody else say IO. He is a huge since Archie Griffin. That's how far he goes back. So I root for Ohio State until they play us in any time during the season. So I'm big on Ohio State. I don't like Notre Dame under any circumstance because of how the NCAA will find a way. I don't care what Notre Dame's record is. They will always find a way to put Notre Dame in the preseason in the top 5. And then after you lose like you did at home, and then you rank them number 4. If you rank them number 11 or 12, then maybe I would have said, okay, but you rank them number 4 at the end of the season after they lose a game against a team that people didn't even know was in college football, and you rank them number 4 above all these other teams. Of course, they're playing good in the playoffs, but still, the point is the NCAA has an affinity for Notre Dame, and no matter what, they will find a way to put them in some kind of playoffs. And next year with the possibly 14 team or 16 team playoff, meaning 2026, they're going to always include Notre Dame, even if they're ranked 36. So Notre Dame, by any circumstance, no. Ohio State. I wish my brother was here to bring a jersey. I'd wear it to Monday night.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. But I don't know. I can't stand Ohio State, and they just drive me nuts. So I'm not. It's going to be great. So look,
a good game.
Sunday, I don't know how the weather is where everyone's at. Like I said, it's a rainy day for us here in Tampa, Florida. So this is a football day. Watch some TV, enjoy yourself. And then Monday, you got a great college football championship. And I would say, just to wrap, I put a bow on it, I think the playoff system worked. Now, Miami didn't get in. Alabama didn't get in. You're always going to have some outliers. You can make an argument. But they got 12 teams in. You're not seeing the 1, 2, 3, 4 teams like that you would have in the past, right? Ohio State and Notre Dame wouldn't have been in that. So I think this thing worked. I don't know if you feel that, to just kind of wrap it up, or do you think this is a good system? The playoff system with 12 teams is better than it was last year. I
like it with 12. but I still say I don't like the fact that the NCAA is still corrupt. They've been scandalous since the 70s. I go back that far. They've been scandalous since the 70s. And the way they put this together and the way they line, especially the way they line Notre Dame up with Indiana the first game. See, they line Notre Dame up purposefully so they can get Notre Dame through the system. I don't like, and then the fact that they had the fact that the NCAA committee had almost had a fisticuff after the Clemson game and the SMU game about including SMU, and half of them almost had a fisticuff because they wanted to bring Alabama. They wanted to put Alabama in the playoffs. They are scandalous, scandalous, scandalous. They're like the Olympic Committee. They are scandalous. I don't stand it. I don't like them. So the playoff system to me this year, when a couple of teams that they set up like that, is scandalous. So they got to do better next year and quit trying to put these high-profile teams in there just because. Because if that's the way, then at the beginning of the season, automatically give them a bid in the playoffs, even if they go 6-5 or whatever. Because no, I don't think it worked the way it's supposed to. And I also think that the biggest, most egregious non-call in the entire playoffs by the bogus-ass referees was the one against Arizona State, when that guy targeted him and you could see it from satellite and they didn't call it. That targeting play goes through, Arizona State wins that game. So the refs blew it because they were biased. They didn't sit back. I don't want to be the one to make the call that Texas don't go. The NCAA committee ain't going to like that. The NCAA committee, scandalous. I'm going to put Notre Dame there. Let's put Indiana under them. And then if they win, they got to go play so-and-so. You know, it's bullshit. So until they get
I said maybe get a
until
computer.
They get the selection part right, Mike.
Yeah.
To me, it's not a done deal like it's supposed to.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Well, listen, we have had a great time, a great Sunday morning. We're going to continue doing this Sunday mornings. Like I said, we've got a great show on Tuesday, great show on Wednesday. We got Parsons' brother going to be on the show, talk some football, talk some playoffs, maybe talk some Cowboys, talk a little bit of culture, pick his brain a little bit, his expertise. So we're going to have a lot of content creators joining us on the show. We're going to be doing a lot of mixing it up. So make sure if you guys haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? We're going to be bringing back some Cowboy legends, some stuff to talk about, what their thoughts when they're seeing this and what's going on. How's their heart breaking? Or maybe they don't care, but we'll figure it out. But Cowboys Nation, we love you. Have a great, great Sunday. Thank you so much for all the people that hung with us. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. That thumbs up don't cost you nothing. And, of course, hit the subscribe. Greg, thanks as always. Looking forward to the next time. You guys take care. Have a good one.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.